It was supposed to be a simple Sunday dinner out. Jackie was leaving on an early morning flight and would miss my 33rd birthday on Wednesday. She had hired a teenage babysitter named Sarah who lived a few houses down, and it was Jackie who found a small bistro near the college campus for a birthday dinner in my honor. We had just been served drinks after dinner when a small group of women followed a man into the bistro. He was wearing a black leather driver's cap, had a thin ponytail down to the middle of his back with salt and pepper hair, and a matching beard. Under his left arm was a box of books. One of the women in the group waved at us slightly. "Who is that?" I asked. "Amanda. She was one of my bridesmaids. I wonder what she's doing here. I can't believe you don't remember her." "Honey, I only have eyes for you," I grinned at Jackie. "That's nonsense. I'm going to find out what's going on." So I sat there, sipping my drink, while Jackie cooled off. 5 minutes passed. Then another 5 before I headed over to where they had gathered. Jackie didn't notice my presence. The registration sheet indicated that it was Pierre Lacroix, an author of romance novels. As it turned out, he was one of Jackie's favorites. She had subscribed to his fan newsletter via email. I hadn't done that, but I noticed Jackie used a different email address, one I hadn't seen before. This struck me as odd. This guy turned on his charm. All the ladies were graceful flowers or beautiful petals. It was enough to make me sick. Jackie became my gray-eyed butterfly. My eyes couldn't roll back any further. Since I wasn't interested, and we needed to get home for the babysitter, I quietly approached Jackie. Tugging her by the forearm, I said, "It's time to go. We promised Sarah we'd be home by 8. You go. I'm enjoying myself. We came as a couple. We leave as a couple." With a dismissive flick of her wrist, as if releasing a servant, she said, "Just go. I'll catch a ride and come home later. You know, I'm a self-sufficient grown woman. Give Sarah $10 as a tip. This will cost me dearly." Making my way to the exit, I turned around and saw that the crowd was mimicking Jackie's gestures, waving and giggling. Jackie was the center of attention. Well, if Jackie is a self-sufficient woman, then I can handle the kids for a week. We had promised them a trip to Orlando, and it was time to make that dream a reality. Once the fire in my eyes subsided, I pulled over and made 3 reservations for Orlando. The kids and I were going on vacation. Calling ahead, I asked Sarah to help the kids pack their rolling suitcases with enough clothes for a week. Stopping by an ATM, I withdrew my daily limit. Ensuring that Sarah got home safely a few doors down the street, I loaded the suitcases into our SUV. After securing both kids in their seats, I took one last walk around the house. On the main level, we have 3 doors leading out of the house. Upstairs, there is a terrace off our master bedroom. After locking the 3 doors, I turned off all the lights and made my way through the darkness to our master bedroom. I locked the bedroom door to the courtyard behind me. When I slid down the support beam, I ended up breaking the trellis that supported the clematis vines. Short of breaking a window or a door, it was impossible to get into the house. Jackie should understand this, but maybe I'm wrong. The kids surrounded me, trying to understand where we were going and why Mom wasn't with us. I confiscated the kids' phones. Once in the boarding area, I disabled the GPS functions on my and the kids' gadgets, then immediately turned them off. We landed around midnight, but it took us until 2 a.m. to settle into our room. Both kids were hyper, but they quickly fell asleep after some hot chocolate. On Monday, we enjoyed several independent activities in Kissimmee. The kids were exhausted and overexcited by the time we returned to the room. That's when I finally turned on my mobile phone. The first voicemail from Jackie came in at 11:48 p.m. on Sunday night. That book signing must have been really popular. "Riley, open the damn door. I know you're in there." The tone of the next few messages became increasingly hostile. The message at 12:38 a.m. made me smile. "Mr. Parsons, This is Officer Riggins. Your wife is causing a scene outside your house. Please come to the door and speak with me, or you can call me back at this number." I didn't delete anything just in case I wanted to call the good officer back. At 2:02 a.m., you damn jerk. The police just told me to find another place to stay for the night. I need my laptop and presentation materials. Open the damn door right now. Oregon, I swear I'll take everything from you in the divorce. Wow, if she doesn't calm down, she's going to have a stroke. For a self-sufficient grown woman, she's definitely overreacting. I had to listen to at least a dozen calls and more text messages than I could count. That's when my phone started buzzing. It was Jackie. My initial reaction was too hasty, but I probably should let her know the kids are okay. The more I thought about her words, the more I realized I didn't know this woman. Divorce? Just like that? I called the credit card companies and reported our joint cards as lost. The resort has an ATM in the business center, so I slipped away for a few minutes and withdrew my daily cash limit. Jackie's parents left a polite message, so I wrote back to them, letting them know that the kids and I were on vacation and having a great time without Jackie. When I got ready to listen to Jackie's messages on Monday, it turned out her work trip had been a complete disaster, and it was all my fault. She mentioned divorce again. It worried me, but I was exhausted, so it didn't keep me from sleeping. On Tuesday, we bought 3-day passes to Disneyland. I thought very little about Jackie. On Thursday morning, my ATM card stopped working. This was getting interesting. Nevertheless, with my work card and several days of cash withdrawals, the kids and I had enough resources to get home. By Sunday evening, we were ready to head back. My eldest said something that shocked me. "This was really fun, Dad, especially without Mom. I don't think she likes us anymore." "She must be under a lot of pressure at work, son," was all I could come up with at that moment. We found the house empty when we arrived on Monday afternoon. Somehow, the latch on the front door was no longer locked. Jackie had found a way to get inside. Upon further inspection, it turned out that the latch on the back door had been broken. The kids were exhausted, so I sent them to nap while I unloaded the SUV. During this time, a flower delivery truck stopped in front of our house. A young lady handed me a vase, mumbling something about having a good day. The card was addressed to Jackie. "Forgot to thank you for letting me know Pierre was signing books. Too bad it all ended at 9. I really enjoyed it. We should have lunch or dinner sometime. Amanda." It took a few minutes for it to sink in. Jackie didn't call until almost midnight. After a few minutes, I realized that Jackie had planned to meet with Pierre, and that's why we went to that bistro. This made my next decision easier. As soon as Jackie got home, I left for another 2 weeks. It was her turn to take care of the kids. Since I work from home, I am their primary caregiver. Jackie will have a hard time managing. I packed the SUV with my valuables, clothes, and work-related items. I also gathered all of Jackie's romance novels. I'll look through them for clues later. Logging into my bank's website, I discovered that our checking and savings accounts were frozen. At least the money was still there. I found our brokerage accounts were unfrozen and immediately changed them. I quickly hugged and kissed the kids. I told them I had a 2-week business trip. Jackie's eyes locked onto me. I smiled, which angered her even more. "I'd love to stay, but I have a 2-week business trip. The kids are yours. Bye, kids." And I flew out the door. "Come back here. You can't do this. I have my own business trip on Wednesday." I didn't quite catch all of Jackie's tirade. Parking the SUV at the airport, I took a bus back into the city. My days were spent working at the company and studying divorce laws in our state. At best, I could expect every other weekend and all the major holidays, alternating each year, Christmas one year, Thanksgiving the next. Maintenance, isn't that a friendly word, would likely be a bit against me since I earned more. Child support was calculated. I certainly understand why some thought it was cheaper to keep her. Calls and messages largely dried up. It seemed Jackie had decided on a strategy. If you dig deep enough, you can find out anything. I found out that Jackie had actually filed for divorce. It was only a matter of time before I was served. The game was changing. I made an appointment with a divorce attorney who specialized in child custody rights. I wanted the kids and would do practically anything to get them, even though my research showed that I had messed up. Staring at the ceiling of my hotel room, I decided to go through Jackie's romance novels. 3 of Lacrua's novels were signed by Pierre, including one on the night of my birthday dinner. I investigated where Lacrua had signed books to determine where Jackie had traveled. Was it a romance or just some strange obsession? I just loved the video feature on mobile phones. The processing server sent me a minute-long video showing the moment Jackie was served. The divorce papers were handed to her at work in the presence of her colleagues. Saying she lost her composure doesn't do justice to her performance. Her ranting and raving eventually caught the attention of her manager, who sent her home. As soon as I surfaced, I was served with Jackie's divorce papers. Let the games begin. The first rounds were predictable. I would get to spend every other weekend with the kids. It was obvious that Jackie had already been poisoning their minds. How could a loving couple, if we ever were one, so easily go off the rails? About 2 months later, the divorce was put on hold after Jackie was arrested for assault. Apparently, she caused a major scene at a book signing event. I was in the gallery when her case was heard by the jury. The prosecutor was relentless. He presented individual emails, reading each one aloud. Jackie's groans of anguish grew louder with each reading. From Lacrua at lit.com, my sweet gray-eyed butterfly. Please don't be angry with your friend, but I could no longer hold back. May I call you Jackie? I enjoyed our time together so much that Sunday evening. Please use this email address, which I created just for us. My publicist handles the fan mail addresses. Love, Pierre. Pierre, as I told you that night, what we did was a big mistake that I should never have made. I need to forget that it ever happened. Jackie. I muttered, wretch, loud enough for my father to nudge me with his elbow, even though he whispered the same thing. From Lacrua at lit.com, Jackie. How can you forget that night? I know you felt it too. We are meant to be together. But if you only used me, then I understand. But the look in your eyes that night told me otherwise. Love, Pierre. Pierre, I didn't use you. Yes, I did feel something and still do, but it has caused a serious rift in my marriage. What we did was wrong. Yours, Jackie. Each letter drew more chuckles from the gallery. The prosecutor presented a few more. From Lacrua, 5 days later. My sweet gray-eyed butterfly, if what we did was wrong, then I never want to be right again. I lose control at the thought of our bodies merging into one. Please be mine alone. Love, Pierre. Pierre, maybe I'll come to another signing session. Maybe, no promises, but I'm going crazy thinking about it. Your gray-eyed butterfly. The laughter and snorting made Jackie turn as red as a beet. From Lacrua. I never intended to interfere in your marriage, but sometimes love closes its eyes when soulmates finally meet. What's happening with your marriage, my love? My jerk husband took our kids on a week-long vacation to Orlando and then left me alone with them for another 2 weeks. At first, I planned to file for divorce just to get his attention, but now I feel I need to see it through. And lo and behold, even before he was served, he filed for divorce and is petitioning for full custody. That scoundrel! Surely the court will side with you. My lawyer is concerned. Riley has documented my lack of involvement in the children's upbringing over the past year. Damn it! I have a very demanding job and he works from home. Let him keep those kids. I want you to have my children. Pierre, that's so sweet, but I love my kids. You will love our children, and if he wins custody, you'll have limited visitation. Think about it. The sooner we are together, the sooner we can start a family. I'll think about it, darling. The gallery erupted in noise, with many condemning Jackie for even considering abandoning her children. Several strikes of the gavel, and the judge restored order. After a few more love messages were read aloud, they reached the main one. From LaCrua at lit.com, Jackie, great news. I will be signing books in Elliott, 80 miles from you. My new book is about our love. I'll have a special copy for you. Please say you'll come. My heart races at the hope that you'll not only come but also stay with me for the night, or possibly forever. Love, Pierre. My dear Pierre, yes, and yes again. My divorce is now in process. We are currently living apart, and I am increasingly allowing him to keep the kids. You and our children will be at the center of my love. Yours forever, love, Jackie. This caused Jackie to groan and sob while the spectators chuckled. Many knew what had happened at the book signing, as soon as order was restored in the court. Your Honor, I would like to present a police report regarding Mrs. Jackie Parsons. At approximately 4:15, Mrs. Jackie Parsons forced her way to the front of the line. Mr. Stanley Crowd, who was impersonating Mr. LaCrua, recoiled when she tried to hug and kiss him. Mrs. Parsons did not take no for an answer and became aggressive. Security was called to escort Mrs. Parsons. She screamed that she and Pierre were soulmates and would soon be married. At that point, Mrs. Crowd introduced herself and unequivocally warned her to stay away from her husband. Mrs. Parsons broke free from the security guard and attacked Mr. and Mrs. Crowd. She was arrested for these assaults. One more point, Your Honor. The police were able to determine that the email account was created using Mrs. Parsons' home Wi-Fi. The prosecution would like to call Mr. Stanley Crowd to the stand. After the formalities, do you use the email address? No, sir. Never heard of it. Were you signing books in Elliott? Yes, sir. It was my turn to be Pierre. To be Pierre, you mean you acted as if you were Pierre LaCrua? Correct. There is no Pierre LaCrua. 4 of us take turns pretending to be Pierre. The book signing schedule is too demanding for one person. If there is no Pierre, who writes the books? A constantly changing team of ghostwriters, mostly college students making some extra money. Have you ever met Jackie Parsons? No. Not until she attacked me. Were you the Pierre who signed books at University Park? No, that was Jack Quigley. No further questions, Your Honor. The sound of Jackie's sobs echoed through the courtroom. From that point on, the case against Jackie Parsons quickly advanced. She was found guilty. At sentencing, she was ordered to complete 200 hours of community service and given 2 years of probation. For Jackie, the worst part was how it affected her custody battle. She insisted that I had sent those emails. Without any evidence, this made Jackie appear unbalanced and delusional. The divorce court agreed. Now Jackie has scheduled visits with the kids 2 weekends a month and alternates holidays. She is the one paying child support. It seems someone has broken her spirit. Being the truly kind-hearted person I am, every time a new Pierre LaCrua romance novel is released, I have someone sign it. To my gray-eyed butterfly, from my beloved Pierre. Then I have it sent to Jackie at her office. Oh, how that woman can swear.
Thank you for listening until the end.